Good evening, everyone. Jitin, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We can start.
On behalf of Panimaral Engineering College, Management, Principal, and the Institute Innovation Council, we welcome our alumni Jitin Gangadharan, RPA developer, UiPath. So he is 2017 passed out from our college. He has got a lot of experience in IT. His experiences are he worked in Infosys as a system engineer from 2017 to 20, and as a senior system engineer 2019 to 20. We are very grateful to have you for this session as a resource person. So please take over the session.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, can you confirm if you're able to see my screen?
Yes.
Sure. Thank you very much. So once again, thanks everyone. Thanks to the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Panimalar Engineering College. Thanks to the staffs and thanks to HOD ma'am as well for organizing this. And last but thanks to all the students as well. I think today being a Saturday evening, it's very difficult for everyone to join, but I can see a good number of audience as well. I would like to thank everyone for joining as well. So I'll have this meeting for around let's say around 45 minutes, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A as well, so that you will be able to clarify your doubts as well if you have any. Okay. So let's get started. So I had a slide about me actually. So I think sir has already covered that. So I graduated from Panimalar Engineering College in 2017. And then during my 8th semester of college, I actually completed my internship with Infosys at Mysore campus. And then I worked as an RPA developer with Infosys for 3 years, both offshore as well as on-site. And then in October 2020, during the lockdown, I actually moved to UiPath, which is a complete automation company. So yes. So today what we are going to see is one of the most emerging technology in the market right now, or in the IT industry right now. We call that as robotic process automation. Okay. So you might have heard about whenever you go for a job, whenever you go for interviews, you might have you might have heard people saying that I am trained in .NET, I am trained in Java, I am trained in C#, something like that. But now coming maybe in the last 2 or 3 years, what has happened is there has been a different boom in the IT market. So we are having a huge demand for skills like AI, ML, RPA, and all those things. So if you are like, whenever you leave college, if you have some certifications or if you have some trainings in RPA, it means that you are like around you are on top of around 50% of the people who are passing out of college. Okay. So rather than going to a company and then getting training there, so if you get trained before itself, okay, that is what we are going to do here. We are just going to give an introduction about one of the most emerging technologies in the market right now, which is called as RPA. Now, what is RPA? Okay, and when someone hears the word robotic process automation, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is going to be a hardware robot, or let's say the city robot, right? People think that a robot will actually come to office, it will type on the computer, it will do all this work, and then it will go back to its home from the office. But that is not going to be the case. That is where RPA is actually different from actual robotics. So robotic process automation is nothing but it is actually a software. Okay, so it is going to be on a system. We create the software, and we are going to like do the steps one by one, just like how an employee does that. Okay. So by automation, what I mean is, for example, we may have steps like opening an Excel. We may have steps like opening a browser, performing a logging on a browser. So all these things, whatever you do manually. Simple example is if you want to check your result on your Anna University portal, you have to open the browser, give the URL, then enter your registration number and your date of birth, click on OK, and then you're able to see the result. Correct. So what if we have a software to do this function for us? A software can enter the URL, it can open the browser, it can do all the data entry work and click on OK. Then automatically your result pops up. Okay, there is no manual effort involved here. That is what RPA is all about. It is all about automation where we are going to do exactly what a human is going to do. RPA can automate repetitive tasks with simple decision making. Okay, so wherever there are very simple decisions involved, that is where RPA can be very helpful. Another example is if your marks is below 35, it means that you're going to get a fail, right? And if your marks is more than 35, then you're going to get pass. So that is a very simple condition there. Something what we use an if condition or some while loops or for loops. So all these decision making, all these conditions can be performed using RPA. But some complex decisions. For example, you write an entire big answer and someone has to validate if the answer is correct or not. So robot will not be able to do that because if there are 100 people, 100 students out there, then each of them are going to do your work in a different manner, correct? Or each of them are going to write your answers in a different manner. The language of one person may not be the same as language of the other person. But it is not that all the answers are wrong. Okay, so, all the answers may be correct. So someone manually check them and take a human has to take a decision whether it is correct or not. So RPA can only automate repetitive things with simple decision making. So wherever we have lots of human effort involved and lots of decision making involved, that in that case RPA is not going to be a good solution there. And then RPA can work together with human. Okay, so where RPA cannot do is RPA cannot talk to any person. Suppose you call your customer care, your Airtel customer care or your Jio customer care. By the time your call is connected, they have all your information, correct? They have your phone number, they have your last 5 recharge history, all these things they have. But they need someone to talk to the actual person and convey this information. Okay, similarly they need someone to get information from the user and ask them what is your problem, what solution to provide. So all these things. So what RPA can do is it can, based on your phone number, it can fetch all the details from the database or whatever they have, but it cannot talk to a human. So that is where the human element is going to come into the picture. So RPA is nothing but a combination of robots with human. So wherever there is decision making involved, wherever there is customer facing involved, that is what a human will be doing. And wherever something has to be done in the back end, like getting some data, doing some automations, all these things, the robot will take care. And yes, last thing is going to be software acting as hands, feet, and eyes, but not the brain. So whatever you do with your hands and whatever you do with your eyes on a computer, for example, with your eyes, you just see, you just want to open an application or you want to see what is there in the browser. And with your fingers or with your hands, you type something on the keyboard, you click some buttons, okay? All these things, the robot is going to take place. But what you do with your brain, for example, you go to Amazon, you go to Flipkart, and then you take a decision, right? Where should I buy this phone? Is it should I buy it in Amazon or should I buy it in Flipkart? So you think you write the pros and cons of the phone in both Amazon and Flipkart, where the price is less, where the price is more, which has better features. So all these things you have to take a manual decision there. So whatever your brain is going to do, RPA will not be able to do. So whatever your hands and feet are going to do, that is what RPA is ready to do. Now, what is not in RPA? Okay, so whenever we talk about robotics as such, so similarly, the Chitty robot comes to all of us mind, right? So that is not going to be RPA. So any industrial robots, for example, we have seen in big industries, right, or manufacturing facilities where robots come in, they do all the work. They have this big robots for fitting the parts in a car and all those things. That is not going to be RPA. Similarly, talking robots. So you have chatbots, right? Whenever you go to any websites, automatically a pop-up comes up. How may I help you? And whenever you write something there, automatically they reply back as well. So all these robots are not going to be RPA. Then taking decisions on its own and performing action. So based on some input what we give, if the robot has to think and do something, again, RPA is not going to be useful there. So wherever there is no decision making involved, wherever there are simple rules involved, that is where RPA is going to be the best solution. And then there is one more common myth is that digital workflows, they are going to replace all the human beings when we bring in automation. Okay, again, that is not going to be the case. So someone has to build this robot. Someone has to tell the robot what has to be done. Someone has to code these robots. So for all of these, you are definitely going to need people to do that. So that is a bit about a short introduction about RPA. What is RPA? What is not RPA? So we'll move on. Now, what are the best processes for RPA? Okay, what are the best processes for doing automation? So wherever we have the process is highly repetitive, okay, that is going to be the first condition here. Our process has to be highly repetitive. Only then we can implement RPA here. Again, I have a very good example here. Let's say an university announces a result at night 2 a.m. or night 3 a.m. So I don't think anyone ever has seen the result in your first attempt. All of you will have to open the browser like 10 times, 20 times, load the URL again and again, and then enter your username and password. By luck, if it comes up, then you get your result. Else, you'll have to wait till the next day morning. So that is going to be a highly repetitive task where you will have to like load your website again and again, enter your date of birth and registration number again and again. So wherever there is highly repetitive processes involved, that is going to be the perfect fit for RPA. Okay. And then wherever there are rule-based processes, so you don't have much of work to do. So you know what is the answer for that. If for example gender is male, then do certain set of actions, or if gender is female, then do certain set of actions. So based on that, you have to take a decision there. Again, I think when you pay your fees and all, if it is a normal exam, then pay 300. If it is a practical exam, then pay 200, something like that. So all these simple practical rule makings, whichever we will not need much of an effort there, that is again going to be a good example or good candidate for RPA. And then low exception rate. So I think all of you must have used Google and you must have entered some data there. You must have clicked on buttons there. But what is the chances of Google failing? Okay, what is the chances that how many of you have not got any output from Google? Okay, so every time whenever you do that, you're going to get success only. You are not going to get any exceptions. Then very rarely, I think whenever Google is down, I think it becomes a big talking point on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Twitter. Everyone does that. So wherever we have very low exception rate, so Google going down is like in 1 year, maybe once it may go down. All remaining 364 days, we are going to have Google available there. So wherever we have very good success rate and very low exception rate, again, that is going to be a very good example for RPA as well. And then the next candidate is going to be high volumes. Okay. Another example is going to be in your in our college and all, when we have to create ID cards. So there are like 500 students, there are like 1,000 students. Okay, so someone has to like manually do all these data, all the data entry work, like the name, like the section, the father's name, the address, everything. Someone has to do all these things manually. Okay, but what if we have an Excel containing all the data? The robot can just pick it up one by one and enter it in the ID card form and then generate an ID card for you. What the human has to do is just print the ID card for you. Okay, all the data entry work, all the like copying a image from the computer and pasting it in the ID card form, all these things the robot will be able to do automatically. So wherever there are huge volumes involved, again, robot can be used for doing that, because for all the 1,000 students in the college, the process is going to be the same. For all of them, we will have to enter all the data, add the photo, then click on print. Okay, only after like once we print the report, once we print the ID card, giving it to a human, that is the only human element involved here. Rest everything is going to be highly repetitive, and like we have high volumes here. By high volume, what I mean is we have lots of people doing the same activity here. And then we have something called as large saving. So wherever we are able to like remove a large amount of human effort, again, that is also going to be a very good example of RPA. So what you can like give an example is nothing but in your bank. Okay, in your bank, if you want to go to a bank and open an account, then there are many people doing the same thing for you. Correct. There are many people helping you in opening the account. They fill the form for you. They take your photo. They do all these things. But what if I automate all these things? Whenever someone has to like open a bank account, I'll automatically trigger an email to them with a Word document. In that Word document, I'll have fields for entering the name, entering the address, entering all these things. Okay, so the robot will automatically trigger the email. The person has to enter all the details and reply back to the email. Then once the reply is received, automatically the robot picks up all the data, does the data entry work, and automatically your account is created. Again, here there is no human element involved here. So the human element can be used for some other work, like customer care, like selling your loans. Because, for example, for selling your loans, a robot cannot be able to do that. So whenever we want some loan, a person calls us and they has to tell us what are the best scheme available, what are the interest rates, all these things. Someone has to sell it to them. So wherever we have large amount of savings, we can employ RPA again there. And then the last point is going to be something called as stable process. So wherever your process is going to be very stable, again, we can employ RPA there. Simple examples are like banks and telecom industry, where the process is never going to change. When you want to open a bank account, always it is the same. You go there, you fill up a form, you enter your details, you give your photo, and you click on the submit button. That's it. The process is never going to change. So wherever we have very stable process and wherever we do not have any like any updates in the process, that is again going to be a very good example of RPA. So wherever we have these sort of processes, we can identify them and we can employ RPA, or we can deploy RPA there. Now coming to the common myths regarding RPA. Okay, what are the common things which people think about RPA? So first thing what people think is RPA robot will replace humans. Okay, so you will not be getting any jobs. Since we have automation there, why do we need people for? That is a common myth that people have. Again, that is not going to be the case. So someone has to build this robot, right? Someone has to code these robots. And people they will not actually remove the people from their job. What they will do is that they will give people the job of where they have to think for something, or where they have to take some decisions. So if someone at the bank was opening an account for you earlier, what they will do is they will give him a job of customer care, or they will give him a job of selling his loans. Similarly, if someone was doing an Excel work earlier, what they will do is they will give him some other job, like taking a decision wherever there is some decision involved, wherever someone has to process a handwritten document. Again, the robot will not be able to do that. So wherever such things are there, so the robot will actually replace humans. So whenever we feel that robot will replace humans, that is not going to be the case. What robot will do is it is going to work along with the human, it's going to help human in the work, but it is not going to replace humans as such. And then next doubt which people have is RPA robots are 100% accurate. Again, it again depends on the developer who is doing it and the comments which they give. Okay, to again give you a simple example from Chitti movie, if you tell Chitti TV podu, then what happens? It puts the TV down, right? So again, it is a fault on the people who is giving the instructions there. So the success rate and the failure rate of robots are going to be a developer. If the developer is good enough, he has covered all the scenarios, he has given the correct instructions, then the robots are again going to be 100% accurate. But if someone has given a wrong instruction to the robot while doing the coding or while doing the creation of the robot, then the robot is obviously going to fail. So again, the success rate of a robot depends on the people who are building the robot and people who are using the robot. And then one more thing which people have in mind is that RPA developers do not need programming skills. So whenever an RPA tool comes in the market, what they do in the ad is that they tell that no programming skills required. Anyone with zero programming skills, they can do RPA, or they can build RPA robots. But again, that is not going to be the case. What happens is like the people from non-IT background, people who have done BBA, people who have done MBA, what they think is, okay, I want to come to RPA, or I want to come to the IT industry. RPA is a good choice. I don't need any I don't need any programming knowledge as such. So what I can do is I can go and learn RPA and I can do that. Again, that is not going to be the case. So when I tell that what is a variable or what is a for loop, someone from an IT background will have a very good knowledge about that. But someone who is from a non-IT background, he will not be having any knowledge about that. Correct. So he has to again Google that, again do that. So this RPA with people who have not had any programming skills, they will only be able to get very small automations. Okay. And when we go into a real world project, or when we need to do a high end project or high scale project for involving multiple scenarios, then the people who are going to have programming knowledge are going to have the highest edge here. Again, you don't need to have this extensive Java knowledge or extensive .NET knowledge. All these things are not needed. What you need is like very simple programming knowledge. Like if you know how to do an if loop, if condition, or how to write a while loop, or how to write a for loop, all these things are going to help you in building RPA robots. And next thing is going to be, people think that RPA robots can automate anything. Again, that is not going to be the case. Okay, so suppose there is a handwritten document coming in. Someone has filled in the document handwritten. The way I write my S and the way you write your 5 are going to be different. Correct. Both of them may seem similar in the handwritten document. Again, where we have semi-structured data or data is not in a correct format, RPA is not going to be a very good candidate there. We'll have to employ some other solutions there. And the last thing is, whenever we speak about robotic process automation, again, people think that it is a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Again, that is also a misconception here. Okay, so RPA is nothing but a step lower than AI and ML. So we will use AI and ML to do all this deep learning, to recognize handwritten documents, to do all the complex conditions. We will make robot think there. But here, RPA is not about robot thinking. It is about doing exactly what the human is doing. So only very small distance what we have, the robot is going to do that. So RPA can only do small decision points, but AI and ML, they can do very large decisions. They can take decisions on their own. All these things are going to happen. So RPA is not going to be AI and ML. Okay, RPA is going to be entirely different. Your AI and ML are going to be completely different from them. Now, if I learn RPA, then what is the job scope that I have? Okay, or where can I get a job? So this is something but a very simple example. Okay, which are all the companies that are currently hiring for RPA developers, and which are all the companies which are currently doing automation there. If you check for the banking sector, I have only managed to give only what I can fit in the slide. So if I have 3-4 slides, then what happens, I can add so many logos going on. Almost all the companies, all the IT companies, all the public sector companies, all the telecom, retail, everywhere RPA is coming into the picture. So coming into banking, we have ICICI Bank, SBI Bank, all of them are hiring for RPA developers because they want to automate their processes. Going to a bank, you will have lots of processes, right? If someone asks for a last 5 months transaction, instead of taking a printout, they can give it as a PDF. They can automate the steps, logging into the website, entering the from date and to date, clicking on generate, automatically the PDF is generated. Similarly, opening an account. So if someone has given me a form, they're filled in form in the form of Word document, I can read the data one by one from the Word document and enter it in the uh, web application there. That is what if the banking sector are going to do. Similarly, in technology, in retail goods, so in Walmart, coming to your McDonald's, everywhere they have order entry systems, correct? So how much order is pending? Whenever the number of burgers comes less than 10, automatically send an order to the warehouse, like give me some, send me some more burgers, something like that. So again, there also you have processes. Wherever you need processes, you can automate all these things. Coming to technology, you have Google, you have Nvidia, you have VMware. All these companies are again doing the automation as well. And in IT companies, Infosys, Wipro, Capgemini, Accenture, all the companies, wherever you go, even today, if you check the job portal, they will have openings for RPA developers there. So if you feel that, but you're not getting any jobs, but there are definitely going to be many opportunities available in the market if you are an RPA developer, okay, or if you have some knowledge about RPA developer. Coming from an engineering background, coming from computer science, if you have very little knowledge about programming and you have some knowledge about RPA, then you are at the top end of the market there. Okay, you are going to be at the top end of the market. So before even going into the company, you have some knowledge of what is actually happening in the industry. So if someone is doing a course for, let's say, a training for 6 months, you will only get 1 month of training. Okay, that is how this RPA thing is going to work. So moving on, now that we have seen about what is RPA, okay, what is RPA? Now we'll have different tools to implement RPA. So if I tell that something is something called as coding, then I have different tools to implement coding, right? I have my Visual Studio, I have my PyCharm, I have my Chrome developer tools, I have Sublime Text, I have lots of tools to implement coding. Similarly, if I talk about email, I have Gmail, I have Outlook, I have Hotmail, I have all these vendors available to send emails here. So similarly, when I talk about RPA, we have different tools available in the market to implement RPA. The top 3 tools are going to be UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism. Okay. So they have around, like, let's say 60% or 70% of the market is with UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism. They are the big giants in the market. So when I go to my retail industry, my Amazon and my Flipkart are the giants, right? All these JioMart, all these Snapdeal, all of them are going to be very small companies. So similarly, coming to the RPA world, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism are going to be the major players in the market. Then all the other, there are small companies also available like Nice, WorkFusion, Softmotive, AssistEdge, Pega, Tag UI, Kofax. So you have lots of small companies also doing automation for you. And then what has happened in the last 1 year is that these big companies, right, like SAP, like Salesforce, Microsoft, all of them have realized the potential of RPA. So when UiPath was in the market, they were like only the single player there. When Automation Anywhere and Blue Prism were there, they were like single players there. But now what has happened is all the other companies, for example, Microsoft. So if you see Microsoft, anyone who is having a Windows PC is going to have Excel or Word installed on that. So they are trying to automate all these things. So they, instead of only installing a Word for you, they are going to install automation libraries also for you, so that you can do automations as well. Okay. So similarly, SAP is another big company which has come into the RPA market. You have Salesforce, you have Google. So all of them are trying to come into the market. But the 3 major players which we have is nothing but UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism. Now, coming to the RPA world, if someone who is new to RPA, he is trying to learn RPA, then which tool would I suggest? Okay, that is going to be my next topic. So I would suggest you to take up UiPath. Okay, then obviously the question is going to be, since you're working at UiPath, are you suggesting UiPath? No, that is not going to be the case. I am suggesting UiPath because it is the best in the market and you have the best resources out there in the internet, openly and free, and for everyone to read and understand and do your automations. Okay. So first thing is, again, we say it requires 0 programming skills. Okay, so if someone who is very bad at programming, all this first year and second year, you have not done any programming, again, you would be a perfect fit for RPA. You can do automations there. Okay, it is not that you need this advanced C#, advanced Java knowledge to do all your automations. You only need very little or very minimal. Coming from a CSC background, automatically you will have. If I tell you what is a variable, automatically you will understand what is a variable. But maybe someone in a mechanical or someone who is not totally outside of this industry may have some problems. But coming from CSC, that is not going to be a question at all. If you have very minimal programming skills, you can easily learn UiPath. But that is not going to be the case with other tools out there in the market. If I talk about Automation Anywhere and Blue Prism, again, you will not be able to learn them without having any programming knowledge. But if you need to learn UiPath, you will need very little or very minimal programming knowledge. and then everything is going to be drag and drop and going to be configurations. Okay, if you come to UiPath, so if you just want to open a browser, you have a component already for that. You just have to drag and drop a component from the in the flow chart, and automatically it's going to open the component, or open the browser for you. There is no need of writing any code for opening the browser. Similarly, if you want to go to a particular website, there is again no need to write any code for that. You just have to drag and drop the navigate to website component. So you have components automatically built in the UiPath Studio itself. There you just have to drag and drop them one by one, and you just have to connect them. Okay, if your step one is going to be opening a browser, if your step two is going to be logging in, you just have to connect all these components one by one in the perfect sequence. Then automatically your automation is going to work. And then coming to UiPath, we can create both attended as well as unattended robot. So what I mean by attended and what I mean by unattended is nothing but an attended robot is something which will work in conjunction with a human. Okay, I told you an example of a customer care executive, right? If I'm calling to a bank to inquire about my last 5 transactions, so by the time I make a call, okay, they have my phone number as an input, and the robot is automatically going to fetch all the details from the database, and all my details are available on the customer care executive screen. He's able to see my bank balance, he's able to see my last 5 transactions, he's able to see my withdrawals, everything he's able to see. So just when I ask him, he's able to just see, look at his computer screen and get all the details, and he's going to transfer it to me. That is what we call as an attended robot, when we have a human and a robot working in conjunction. Okay, but we have something called as an unattended robot as well, where we don't need a human at all. For example, at daily 5 p.m., I need to download some reports from a website. Okay, then I can just schedule the robot to run every day at 5 p.m. What the robot will do, automatically it will log into the machine, automatically it will go to the website, automatically it will download the report, send you an email, and it will log out of the machine. That is what we call as unattended robot, where no human intervention is involved. So while coming to UiPath, again you will have the you will have the provisions to create both attended as well as unattended robots as well. And you have a web-based orchestrator to monitor and control robots as well. So if you want to see how many robots you have, how many machines are there, how many processes you have automated, all these things you will be able to see on a web-based orchestrator. So if you go to a particular website and give your username and credentials, you can see all your processes which you have created, all your robots which you have created. Same thing you can access on your phone as well. So all these provisions you're going to have in UiPath. Then we also have something called as recorders. Okay, recorders are nothing but if you just turn on the recorder, and if you do your actions one by one, you do your open browser, then you enter your URL, you enter your username, you enter your password, you click on login button, and then you stop the recording. Automatically what happens is the robot is going to generate a script for you. Okay, the UiPath Studio will generate a script for you. Then you can just save those script and you can run them again and again. So there is again going to be no programming involved. You just have to turn on the recording and do your actions one by one. Okay, whenever you do these actions one by one, everything is going to be captured by the UiPath robot, and it is going to automatically generate an automation script for you. Okay, so this scripts you can then use it day by day. For example, if you want to book a cinema ticket, what you can do is you can first time when you're booking a cinema ticket, you can turn on the recorder, open the browser, and then enter your pvrcinemas.in. Select the movie which you want, select the location which you want, select the seat which you want, everything you can do. Okay, all the selections that you do, all the text what you enter in the website, everything is going to be generated as variables. So next time, if today you're booking for movie 1, tomorrow you want to book for movie 2, you just have to change the variable and then run the same script. Automatically it is going to do the actions which you recorded the other day. So if you recorded the actions for booking a ticket, same thing it is going to do again here as well. So if you had done a recording for like recharging your phone with maybe let's say the phone number and your amount as an input, then again tomorrow when you run the robot and you give a different phone number and give a different amount, the robot is going to do the same automation. It is going to just trigger the robot once again, and it is going to like do the steps one by one whatever you had configured. So again you have recorders inbuilt which is going to capture all your automation and capture all your steps and convert them into automations. So because of all these things available in the market in UiPath, that is why we prefer UiPath as a starter or as a beginner than the other RPA tools in the market. Now, now that we have a tool ready, okay, now what should I do? So what is the job opportunities available in the market for an RPA developer? So there are basically two set of people, right? Someone who is very interested in coding and some of them who are not interested in coding. So if you're interested in coding, then you will go into the coding world and you will do your thing there. But if you're not interested in coding, but some of them may be interested in marketing, some of them may want to speak to the customers and do things like that, or do consulting work for the firm. Some of them may be very interested in infrastructure. They may want to like install the components. They want to do something like that. So for all these set of people, people, we have job opportunities available in the RPA market. Okay, so you have openings for RPA developers, you have opening for RPA citizen developers, you have openings for RPA users, you have RPA infra engineers. So these are going to be nothing but RPA developers are nothing but the people who build the robots. Okay, so if you want to build these robots for companies, again you can choose the RPA developer stream and you can learn for that. Okay, and you can start building your own robots. And then there are RPA citizen developers. RPA citizen developers are nothing but they are trying to automate their own job. So suppose you have no interest in RPA at all. Okay, you are into a totally entirely separate field. You are into Java or you are into let's say C# or some other field. But your daily task, right, like checking your mail, giving a status in the form of an Excel, all these work you will be able to do this very easily. Okay, and then we have something called as RPA users, the people who use RPA. So if you want to use RPA and do some automation from that, again, that is also possible. So if you don't want to create the robots, but you want to use RPA, you want to sell RPA, again, you can be an RPA user as well. Then you have something called as RPA infra engineers. So if you are not into programming at all, you don't need what is programming. So you need to you like to install components, okay, or you like to create networks, all these things. Then you can become an RPA infra engineer. Then what happens is we can create the networks, we can create the systems, we can create the virtual machines. So all these concepts are going to be involved there. And then we have something called as RPA solution design. So RPA solution architects basically. So again, if you don't like coding or if you don't want coding, you want to like build systems out there, you want to build solutions out there. So you have a subject in your syllabus called system design, right, where they will be focusing mainly on how to build system there, how to like build reusable components, how to build modular code, all these things, how to apply the principles of software engineering. So if you want to do all these things, you can become an RPA solution architect as well. So you have those options as well. And then again, that is all going to be from the technical stream. So if you're not into any of the technical stream, if you want to go from go into an altogether, you want to go into a different stream, then you can become an RPA project manager, or you can become an RPA business analyst, RPA educator, RPA consultants. All these opportunities again available in the market. So project manager are nothing but, maybe you cannot become a project manager, but we have an opening for project manager as well. So if you're planning to do an MBA or something like that, and if you're coming back to the RPA stream, then you will not be interested in coding, right? But you may want to manage people there. So you can again become an RPA project manager. You have openings for that as well. Now, if you want to like sell the product, if you want to go to an organization, speak to them, tell them what is automation, this is what we can do, you want to capture all these things, you can become an RPA business analyst as well, where they analyze what the company is doing currently and they tell them this is going to be the best solution for you. Okay, and there is going to be again no coding involved. You're just going to see what they are doing. You're going to tell them, okay, I can automate this, I can automate that. You're just going to use your mouth for that. Okay. And then if you're not interested in any of them, you want to become a teacher. Okay, again, we have openings for RPA educators as well. All the companies or all major IT corporates will have openings for RPA educators as well, where they expect you to learn about RPA and then they expect you to deliver the content to the students. They want to teach people about RPA because RPA has been in the market only for like last 2 or 3 years. So people with 5 years experience, people with 6 years experience, they don't know anything about RPA. Only the people who have come out of the IT industry, come out of colleges in the last 2 or 3 years, only they have experience in RPA. So there is a huge demand for people who are highly skilled in RPA at the market currently. Then last thing is going to be, you can also become a RPA consultant as well. Okay, so consultants are nothing but, again, they are going to work with the client, they are going to understand the requirements, they are going to do all the consulting work for the company, they are going to audit the process. Again, these are going to be non-technical streams which we can completely use if you are not into programming. If you want to become someone with a business MBA or with a business administration background, again, you can use this non-technical backgrounds and you can easily scope your career on that. Now, where do I start my learning? Okay, so once I have chosen my job profile, how do I start my learning on RPA? Okay, so we have something called as an UiPath Academy. Okay, UiPath Academy is nothing but it is a open source and is going to be available on the web free of cost. Okay, so whichever field you want to go, again, we have technical courses and we have non-technical courses as well. So you have RPA developer courses, you have solution architect courses, you have infrastructure engineer courses, you have implementation manager courses, business analyst courses, technical support. Whatever I told you, all these courses are again available on the UiPath Academy as well. Okay, so if you are into technical streams, you can do these courses. If you're in non-technical streams, you can do the non-technical courses as well. I know all of you would have done internships, all of you would have been planning for implant trainings, all these things. Okay, so during a semester holidays, if you do your implant trainings, maybe you'll do it for 2 days, you will do it for 3 days. But what do you learn from that? You learn nothing, right? So I have also made this mistake during my college days, where during my semester holidays, I go to some company, they teach me something, but I don't use it anywhere else. And that certificate also, I don't think it has much of a value there, right? So instead of that, what you can do is you can go to this UiPath Academy, okay, and you can, like, again, these are going to be self-paced, okay. So if you feel that today I can only attend one day, only 1 hour, then you can learn for only 1 hour. And tomorrow, if you can attend for 4 hours, you can again attend for 4 hours. All of them are going to be in the form of videos and easily understandable. So you just have to like read through all of them, and you just have to understand what is happening. So if you go into any job interviews, okay, they'll ask you, definitely the first question that comes is how many certifications have you done, or how many implant trainings have you attended, how many papers have you presented. So if you do not have any of this, you can simply go to the RPA Academy, you can learn this RPA technology, and you can get certifications on that. Okay, everything is going to be like only 30-hour course, 20-hour course. Okay, if you sit 1 hour for 30 days, again 1 month, again you are going to complete your course, you're going to have a certificate from UiPath itself. If you go to any job interviews with that certificate in your profile, again that is going to be a very high value. Because if you get selected in, let's say, Infosys or TCS or Pro, and they put you into the RPA field, again they are going to train you. You know, I think all of you should be aware that whenever you go into an IT company, all of you are going to all the companies are going to train you in whichever field you are going to join. Again, they are going to give you the same training only, correct? They are going to tell you, go to the UiPath Academy, learn all these things, and write an exam on that. That is what these companies are going to again tell you, because they don't have any content on their own. All of them are depending on UiPath or depending on Automation Anywhere, whichever be it. You can again go to Automation Anywhere Academy, and you can learn about Automation Anywhere there also. It's not that you can do it only on UiPath. Whatever tool you wish to learn, just go to their academy, check out the processes, and you start your learning on that. Okay. So you have learnings on RPA developer. If you want to become an RPA developer, you have certain courses there. You have courses on foundation training. You have courses on orchestrator training. You have courses on advanced training. You have courses on SAP automation training. So all these courses are available in the RPA training there. Then if you want to become a solution architect, you have set up trainings for that as well. Again, all of them are going to be free of cost. Okay, so all your implant trainings that you do, you pay like around 3,000, 5,000 for these 2 days. But these trainings are going to be very useful for you. All of them are going to be free of cost. All you have to go to is go to the academy.uipath website, and you can learn these trainings. So you will be like the best in the market when you come out of your college, and you already have a previous experience, right? So whenever you go to a company, you're going to tell them that I'm already experienced in UiPath, or I'm already done projects on UiPath. Okay, so they are going to respect you. So let's say if someone has to go through like 5 months of training, you are only going to go through 1 month of training. So yeah, again, you have increased your career by 4 months there. So if someone gets a promotion after 2 years, you are going to get a promotion after 1.5 years. Okay. So again, that is how this things are going to work. Even if you're from a technical background, if you don't want to go into technical field, you want to go into non-technical field, you can choose any of the courses which are available here. You can start with all these courses available there. You can learn their own pace, and then you can apply for the certificates. You will automatically get a certificate of learning. You can put them on your resumes, and you can start your RPA journey here. So I've almost come towards the end of my webinar here. What I'm going to do is I'll just show you a simple example of how a bot is run. Okay, so I have a video here. So this video is nothing but what I've tried to automate is I'm trying to automate the recharge of a mobile phone here. So if I give my mobile number and if I give my amount for which I want to recharge, automatically the robot is going to do the automation for me. It is going to open the browser. It is going to launch the URL. It is going to enter the details. It is going to then at the end it is going to send me an email as well saying that I've done my automation. Please see the result, something like that. So this entire automation has been done using no code. Okay, zero code. Everything has been done using a drag and drop. Okay, so I'll just play the video for you. So I gave it a name as Recharge Robot. Okay, what this robot is going to do is it is going to automatically open my browser for me. It is going to go to the Airtel website. So if there is any loading times or anything like that, it's going to wait for that. It's going to enter the phone number for me once the page is loaded completely. Again, then it's going to enter the amount for me. So I am just recharging for 10 rupees. It selected the amount from the list there. And then it is going to go to the payment process here. Again, it is going to wait till the page is loading. All these things are automatically going to be available in RPA. It is going to enter the card details now. And it's going to click on pay. Then it gives me a prompt to enter the OTP. Since the OTP comes to my phone, it gives me a prompt to enter the OTP. So once my OTP comes and I type my OTP there, automatically the robot is going to pick it up from that part and it's going to do the processing there. So there is just a wait time for to receive my OTP. So once I receive my OTP, I'm entering that. Automatically the robot enters that, and it comes to the success screen here. So then what it does is it prints the receipt for me, and it's automatically going to trigger an email also for me. So by the time the robot ends, if I go to my mailbox, okay, I'm going to my mailbox here, and if you see, I have an unread mail. It says that my processing is complete. It has the phone number and also has the screenshot attached here as well. So this is a very simple automation of how you can do automation in real life as well. It is not that you have to be in an IT industry or you have to be in the IT world to do all this automation. So you have many tasks, right? So when I was in college, I used to like automate the task of booking a ticket. I tried that using code now, but now there are low code solutions available. So if you want to book a train ticket, again, some places you will not be able to automate because you will have captchas, correct? Your Anna University website, you can check if your website is loaded or not. But to enter into the website, you will have to enter that captcha there. So again, that is not going to be possible. But for booking your movie tickets, there will be no captcha involved. You just have to go to the website, select your date, select your movie, select your time and all these things, and then enter your details and then just click on OK. So wherever there are going to be very little manual interventions involved, wherever there is no decision making involved at all, you know the output, you know the input, you know all these things, you can easily do them using RPA. So my advice would be to start with small automation. So whatever you feel that can be automated, for example, sending an email, you always have an components for sending emails in UiPath. You just have to go to the website, see about email automation, and try to implement that. Again, you have a community version of all these software tools here. You just have to download them. You can use it for free. Okay, for how much time you want, you can just use it for free, and whatever you want to do, you can easily do that. So yes, I'm pretty much at the end of my webinar here. So I would just like to end by saying a quote of Bill Gates and then saying a quote of Daniel Dines here. So Bill Gates in 1989, what he said was, my vision is going to be a computer on every desk and in every home running Microsoft software. So back in 1989, when Bill Gates told this, people thought that he's mad. Okay, so no one thought people to go after computers or anything like that. But today, if you see, almost everyone on this meeting here is going to have a Windows computer at your home, and we are running Excel, we are running Word, everything which is given by Microsoft only. So similarly, Daniel Dines, the CEO of UiPath, he has said in 2019, see, if Bill Gates said a computer on every desk, our vision is to have one robot for every person. And that is what the world is moving to nowadays. So with this COVID coming in, people are not able to go to office. They need someone to do all the work for them. They need robots there. They need digital workforce there. Okay. So RPA has been in the market for only 2 or 3 years. All your experienced person, all your HRs who are coming in, they will not be having much.
Hello, Jitin, your voice is not audible. Hello, Jitin. Jitin, can you hear me?
I'm sorry for that. So yes. Yes. So my advice for you would be like try learning about RPA, because there are not many people who are knowledgeable about RPA. Okay. So what you want to do is if you learn about RPA, then you are at the top end of the market. That is the most wanted job at the moment. So rather than just going into Facebook, go into LinkedIn, just search for all the jobs which are available, see what you want to do the courses on the academy, see all the certificates which are available, do the certifications, put them on your resume. Your resume is going to stand out. Okay. So like I said, we are on a very big journey. Okay. So RPA just started. We are at the beginning of this journey. So maybe in 10 years, if you're an RPA developer, you will become a very good coder as well. You will be in the best companies in the world as well. You will be having knowledge about the best technologies in the market. So my advice would be to like, instead of doing all these trainings, implant trainings, get to know about all these new technologies out there. Get to know about AI. Get to know about ML. Get to know about RPA. Get to see what is happening in the market. Try to do automations. Try to like create your own resume on that, and then maybe get placed in a very good company. Sure. Thank you very much. I'll open the floor for questions here. So if you have any questions, if you want to like discuss about something, please feel free to unmute yourself. Please feel free to ask me questions. If you have any doubts, if you need any help on what to do next, everything, please feel free to ask your questions here.
Students, if you have any doubts regarding the session, you can ask him. Then I think they don't have any doubts.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. I also like to thank the college and staff again and students also for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jitin. Despite of your busy schedule, you gave us time for sharing your knowledge with your juniors. I think it has been um, a wonderful session and the new topic as well. Thank you once again.
Sure, thank you. I see a question in the chat box. Okay, it says, "Are the certifications priced?" Okay, that is a question I think I got from LJ Sheila. So you have two ways of doing it. Okay, so you get certifications for completion of the course. We call them as diploma certificates. All the diploma certificates are going to be free of cost. Okay, and then if you want to like for advanced developer, what they have is they have an advanced developer certification exam for that. So the exams are going to be priced. Okay, they are going to be priced in dollars. It's going to be around $150 there. But if you want to like complete all the courses, want to get a diploma on that, you're going to get a diploma certificate from UiPath if you complete all the courses. So as a fresher or as a juniors, I would suggest you to do only this diploma courses only. But after getting into the industry or after getting into like having 2 or 3 years experience, then you can try for this advanced developer certifications and all those things, because you will definitely need experience for that. All these certifications are pretty much targeted for the high end people or for people with 2 or 3 years experience. So if you're just beginning your RPA journey, you can just do the courses. You can get your diploma certifications free of cost. Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I think if there are no further questions, then maybe we can wind up.
Thank you so much, Jitin.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, students. Students, there is a feedback link which has been posted in the chat box. Please fill the feedback link.